Eyes Wide Shut is such a peculiar film for so many reasons. And I have to say, I have only seen this once. I've watched this once. These are my initial thoughts. But I feel like this, like a lot of Stanley Kubrick's films, you kind of need to watch it multiple times because there's a lot going on, and I think there's a lot that could be analysed. If you've seen it more than once, I'd be very interested to know if your opinion was like mine to begin with, and maybe if it changed. But for me, I found it really good, really enjoyable. But there are certain scenes in this that made it better than it otherwise would be. This was released in 1999, directed, of course, by Kubrick, and stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. And obviously, the casting is great, and I think everybody fits their roles. But for me, the characters are not why this is interesting. The narrative is just so peculiar. The description from IMDb is as follows. A New York City doctor embarks on a harrowing, night-long odyssey of sexual and moral discovery after his wife reveals a painful secret to him. I'm not going to go into any more detail than that, to be perfectly honest. I don't want to spoil too much. But I will say look out for the character of Nick Nightingale. He's played by Todd Field, and I really thought that character was really great. He's an old friend of William. William, of course, played by Tom Cruise. And I will say, I feel like the narrative progressed so well. It went from A to B to C to D in such a way that felt so natural, even though a lot of what's happening is not that natural. And I love that. The film was interesting to begin with. It's a very long film. It's over 2 hours. And a lot of the setting up was actually really interesting because I didn't know where it was going. I'm obviously not going to explain that too much, but as it began to slowly progress, I had no idea where it was going. I did no reading around this. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what this was about. And it doesn't really give away anything. For the majority of the film, actually, it does kind of just keep going and going, and as soon as you get comfortable with the way it's going, it'll change, or we'll have a different perspective. And then we get the cults and the masks, and I won't say anything else. Except that is so terrifying and so creepy. And those scenes are what, for me, made this a really good film. I still won't say it's a great film because it's not my kind of film ordinarily. So it doesn't have the hallmarks of what I love in a film, what I look for in a film. But as a one-time watch, probably a second. I will watch this again at some point. But watching it for the first time, it kept me engaged. It kept me exceptionally curious. And the directing, particularly in those masked scenes, is just flawless. There's a decent level of choreography going on there, which is exquisite to watch. You know, the camera angles are amazing. It is just so beautifully directed. Exactly what you'd expect from Kubrick. Obviously, the acting is good. The characters are interesting enough. But for me, it is the narrative and the curiosity that narrative generates. I don't want to say more than that because it's a film that needs to be seen. And if you haven't seen it, I think it would be really good if you went in not knowing anything else about it, other than what I've just said, and hopefully I haven't spoiled anything. But do let me know if you've seen it. If you've seen it more than once, I'd be really interested to know if your opinion changed when you kind of knew what was coming, or what to expect, and if there was anything you noticed that you didn't the first time. As I said, I will watch it again, but not immediately. But let me know what you think of Eyes Wide Shut. It probably is my favourite Kubrick film.